I go into my studio and I can sort of look up 4 hours later and not really having a sense that time has passed. So it gives me a sense of peacefulness, which is funny because sometimes it can be really frustrating too, but I do like it.
Right, well now we can start with show and tell. Who would like to begin?
It's a sheer fabric sandwiched between two layers of that is a little tulle.
This was what I did. It's called Petals in the Wind.
It matches your pants.
And that's right. I'm into greens lately.
The original purpose of quilting was to create bedding, clothing, and even armor. Today, people still continue to make what is sometimes referred to as a cloth sandwich, but they are created for many different reasons. Join us as we visit the Charlottesville Area Quilters Guild to learn about the role this art form plays in our community. Come on.
I love just getting together and being able to talk to other people, that we give each other a lot of support. People are just very generous about sharing.
Is it going to be a problem to use that, or should I not?
It would be here,
Some of them will go one way and some will go to the other.
and that's okay.
Yeah, which would be fine,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
I
just
do
half-
it. I do
okay,
it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I think one of the strengths of our guild is that no one ever feels like they have to be competitive. It's very supportive and lots of sharing of new techniques, new patterns, reasons to buy more fabric.
So I'm really excited to see your sewing room.
Well, welcome to my sewing room.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
You have a little bit of fabric here.
I do. It's called a stash.
A
And there's
stash.
A stash of fabric.
A stash of fabric?
And it really, there's a lot. And you feel really bad to have this much, but you work with it.
You work with it. So, okay, the Guild. Let's talk a little about the Guild. How long ago was it started and why?
It was started in the late 80s by a group of women who felt that they wanted to get together and to work with a hobby that they really enjoyed. And so it was about 5 women that started it, and we are now at about 160 members.
Well, that's fantastic. So, who can be in the Guild? Do you have to be an experienced quilter? How does that work?
No, you don't have to be an experienced quilter at all. There are many members who are very beginning quilters, and people like to learn from each other, and the experienced quilters are always sharing information.
There are a couple of different styles of quilting, right? Can we go over to your sewing space and kind of take a peek at some examples?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
This is called Free Motion, and actually it's going to be a pillow, and I'm just following the lines. It's got batting underneath it, and I will make it into a pillow when it's finished. I'm just going to follow the lines for the whole cat. It's really a fun thing to do.
What is a quilt? Show us what a quilt is.
A quilt is, for the most part, 3 layers. You've got the top layer, which would be like this,
Okay.
and then you have batting,
Okay, right.
which is either wool or cotton or blends of that. And then you have a backing. This would be a backing.
Right, okay.
And then what you do is sew through the three layers. So this is a pieced quilt.
Oh, right,
That you
yes.
put all the pieces together in some kind of a pattern.
And sometimes they're hand sewn, hand stitched, sometimes machine stitched?
Stitched, from very simple patterns to very complex patterns. And then there's applique. A lot of this is done by hand. So all these clamshells are done by hand. By the way, there's 800 of these clamshells for this quilt.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
But then it will be quilted, and it will be machine quilted following the clamshell, and I'll use this machine to do it. Sometimes people will send off their quilts to an individual who has a long arm machine, and they finish the quilt. They'll put the 3 layers together, the bottom, the batting, and the top. It makes it really easy for big quilts.
And then aren't there quilts that are tied?
There are quilts that are tied.
And this is a very older.
This is a very old, although if you go to the Quilt Museum, even in the late 1700s and 1800s, they were doing it by hand. This is an antique quilt that came from Indiana and probably in the 1900s. and it's tied, and it will last. It just isn't as pretty and as modern as what we have today.
That's why I like this ruler. You can see on this diagonal line right here, is it 45, 45? And you can fudge it a little bit so that you get this as close to being the same as possible. The closer it is to being the same, the better off you're going to be.
I am trying to make what are called flying geese, and there's a specialty ruler. Lots of quilting people make specialty rulers, and this one's to make a traditional block called flying geese. You can see it's like a bird flying.
To me, one of the challenges is picking the right colors. So I was pleased how this turned out.
I love, love, love embellishment, so I do a lot of embroidery, add beads and trims, and just you name it, I've tried it.
My favorite thing that I like is when I give a baby quilt and I get a picture back from the family with the baby on the quilt.
I like to say I don't make quilts, I quilt quilts. My wife's been quilting for us 30-some odd years, and so I've been to my share of quilt shows and knew something about long arm machine quilting, so I established a studio and took lessons and started doing quilting for people.
In the Guild, what are the different reasons that people are making quilts?
I think it's a expression of their artistic ability. Mm-hmm. I think it satisfies a need. There are artistic quilters that just do beautiful work, and it's just unbelievable what they can come up with. And then there are very traditional quilters, but it's just something that is within them that they are expressing themselves.
The Guild meets twice a year? The whole guild?
The big guild. So you have 4 chapters,
okay,
and then you've got the big top of it, which is Charlottesville Area Quilt Guild. Okay. And then under that are the chapters.
And the chapters are Tuesday Morning Group.
Right. Moonlighters.
Who meet at night.
Meet at night. Crozet, who meets in Crozet. And then Nelson County, who meet in, I think it's Lovingston.
And then you all also, every other year there's a big quilt show.
There is a big quilt show. It's basically an art show.
But with no sales, right.
There are some little pieces that are sold because people were disappointed that there wasn't anything.
Right.
And so there are small pieces, but for the most part the quilts are not for sale, but it's just to show the talent in the Charlottesville area.
Oh, that's wonderful. And it is a fundraiser though.
We don't just have our show and hoard the money until next time. We use it. We have schools that we provide quilts for their Bright Star program, and what we do is the members make 40 by 50 inch quilts. Usually I quilt them as my contribution.
The past couple of years we've given over 120 quilts to 9 different schools in the community, and that's really makes us proud that we can support this.
We can use the proceeds of the raffle quilt to buy batting and other materials to support that program, and it just kind of has a continuing life of its own.
The Guild designs and sews over 100 quilts a year.
162 quilts for this year.
And they get the students get them in the beginning of the year?
The beginning of the year, and then they take a nap with them every day. They had to be pretty sturdy because they are sent home certainly to be washed.
Right.
And then at the end of the year, then they take them home and keep them. Oh. And then with the quilt also comes a book.
Oh, I love that.
And it seems like it's really worked. And I can't tell you the amount of times that the teachers have talked about that an older sibling will come out, when they do home visits, will come out and say, hey, this is my Bright Star quilt that they had a couple of years before that.
That is great. That is a wonderful program. So when the Tuesday Morning Group meets, that's every Tuesday, right?
Every Tuesday. It's just people gathering together to show what they're doing, to ask questions, to support each other. There's always somebody who has a question about, does a color go, or what's the stitch, or it's just a good time to share. There's also usually a table with giveaways, both patterns and fabric. We lost a member recently, and all that fabric that she had was donated to Tuesday Morning.
MJ Stevenson was a longtime member of our group. We were inspired by her unfinished projects. We were inspired by her fabrics, her books.
This is called MJ's Cardinals. You can see why when you see the back. It's a disappearing 4-patch. MJ put a packet together. So I added some of my fabrics, and this is what it turned out to be.
What do you find that most of your club is interested in doing with their quilts? Do they want to exhibit them? Do they want to give them as
There's
gifts?
an element of, I think, of the membership who really enjoys being in shows. You know, there's shows throughout the whole country, and they will apply to be in shows, and they get great gratification from that. And there are others who just want to pass the quilts on to family members. So it's a combination of a whole lot of things of why people quilt and what they do with the quilts.
Right. What do you like to see happen with your quilts?
I have a gaggle of grandchildren, and they have so many quilts, I can't tell you how many they have. And I hope that they can keep them, put them away when they're done with them, and bring them out for the next generation. I have a cousin that I gave a baby quilt to, and she sent a picture, and all it was shreds. And that's what you want. You don't want a baby quilt folded up and put on a shelf. You want it used.
Okay, now I'm really putting my hand down on that.
Okay.
Finished product. Look at that.
I've never had a geese to look so perfect.
There are 2 guys in the guild now. We had a new fellow join during our last quilt show a couple months ago, but he goes to another chapter.
I don't need anybody else. It can be a very solitary, independent activity. But it also opens a lot of doors. This group, for example, it's a great way to make friends.
Quilting is a lifetime passion. I think that you can never stop learning, and that's why we're all here. You know, we support each other, and sometimes we'll stop for a while, and then it's like, oh gosh, no, I've got more projects, I really need to get going again.